person comes into this life with a unique, energetic signature, with an essence. Inside that essence is embedded everything that is unique about us. Our thoughts, our unique purpose, our unique needs, our desires, what we're meant for in this life. The way that you can imagine it is like this essence is a pearl that is inside of a lotus blossom that is tightly closed. Our life process is a process of unfolding. If this was a process that wasn't interfered with, the petals of this lotus blossom would open to reveal this unique essence that is within us, at which point that unique essence could express itself out into the world in the form of what we call our life purpose. Alas, life isn't exactly like this today on Earth. Instead, so much of what we encounter in the world is an impediment to that process of unfolding. Instead of people becoming a part of this process of our unfolding so they can see what uniquely is the essence and therefore the expression of us, most people look at us as if we are a raw ball of clay which they can mold in alignment with their desires or what they think is best for us. What they tell us is that certain things are acceptable and good, and therefore if we are that way or we do those things, then we will be accepted and loved and have all the good things we want in life. To the opposite, there are certain things that are bad and not okay and unacceptable about us, and if we are any of those things, then we will lose. We will be pushed away from people. We will be rejected, and all of those things we want, we won't be able to have. So we begin this process of splitting ourselves, fragmenting. We begin to push away from ourselves those things that will get us rejected, whilst simultaneously only exhibiting to the world those things which will gain our acceptance. For this reason, we have to accept that our personalities are in essence fake. It's an amalgamation of whatever aspects of ourselves met with acceptance made us safe. When we push away parts of ourselves, they become delegated to the subconscious. So they become parts of ourselves that we don't even see about ourselves. Now, we can only be authentic to the degree that we currently know ourselves. We can only be authentic to the degree that we are aware of ourselves. Now, obviously, this presents a little bit of a problem. Most of us are living lives that are not genuine, that are not a real expression of our true and genuine essence, but we're not even aware of it. Now, when you ask me, what is 2019 all about? It's about completing this cycle and stepping into a new one relative to authenticity. This universe unfolds itself in spirals that are coiled. Each loop of these coiled spirals can be seen as a cycle. The year 2019 is the end of one of these loops in a spiral, and also therefore the beginning of the next loop. A 10-year cycle that began in 2009. In each being's life, in 2009, the seeds were sown for an authentic vision. Something that was completely in alignment with what you truly wanted, with who you really are. If you think back to 2009, think about what happened during that year and what started that year. It doesn't matter whether it was in the sector of finances, spirituality, relationships, career, purpose, whatever it was. That year was the beginning of this cycle of you stepping into authenticity. That means this vision that began that year, that was a true reflection of your desires, of your life purpose, of who you really are and what you really want, is now coming to a space of crystallization. The point of crystallization was so much about what last year was about. It was the year of stability. Now, those of you who have been through the year understand that that being the year of stability didn't mean that all of us would feel wonderful and stable. No, instead, what it meant for most of us is that everything that was unstable about our life would fall completely apart, so that all that we would be left with was whatever's stable. Kind of like when an earthquake hits and the things that were stable are obviously the things still standing. Yeah, that's what last year was about. But so much of that is about the crystallization of what is actually real about you. Now, because the foundation of what is stable is actually set, we can actually move forward. It's almost like now that the foundation is set, you can begin to build that structure. we can, from the space of what's really stable, begin to actually take a step forward. We can move forward, we can take steps towards improvement, and we can really come out of the closet. 2019 is the year of stride. Just like last year was the year of stability, this is the year of stride. So what exactly does stride mean? Stride means a considerable step or stage in progress towards an aim. It also means to cross an obstacle in one step. It also means large decisive steps in a specific direction. And all of these definitions fit the frequency of 2019. In 2019, we will see a second cycle of the liberation of our own unique selves. To understand this, I want you to imagine a butterfly. The phases that a butterfly goes through to become a butterfly can obviously be seen as a progression in the direction of a butterfly becoming a butterfly. So just like the cycle that we're now in, right? One of these cycles that a butterfly goes through is being inside of a chrysalis and basically dissolving into primordial soup, at which point the caterpillar is no longer a caterpillar, it is a butterfly. The next coil, or loop in this cycle, is when the butterfly takes flight for the very first time. So once it has emerged as a butterfly, now, in order to actualize its essence and its purpose as a butterfly, it takes to the air. And what we're looking at for 2019 is a bit like that step in a butterfly's life. 2019 is the year for making great strides, and those great strides are going to happen in alignment with what's actually true for us, in alignment with our authenticity. Now, obviously, in order to take those great strides, we have to not only be acting from authenticity, but also integrity. Authenticity and integrity go hand in hand. A lack of integrity should be defined as the quality of not adhering to principles communicated to you by your own conscience, and not living in a state of wholeness in and of yourself. For example, if your conscience tells you that honesty is right for you and you lie, you're demonstrating a lack of integrity. Two parts of you are split in that moment, and you will feel bad as a result. Your internal guidance system will be guiding you in the opposite direction of where you're currently headed. Some examples of lack of integrity are saying you'll do something and not doing it, telling a lie when the truth is the opposite, leading someone to believe that they can trust you and then betraying them, hiding things about yourself and keeping secrets about yourself so that the aspect of you that other people see is not the real you, being two-faced, self-sacrificing instead of adhering to your wants and needs, and changing your stories and opinions in order to bend to public opinion instead of staying steadfast in them. All of these things have something in common. In all of them, two parts of you are in opposition. One part of you says something's right and good and the truth, and another part of you adheres to the opposite way of acting anyway. When we tend to see lack of integrity is when we are put in positions of crisis or stress. That's when we tend to crack. This is why it's so often said that you have to wait for a crisis to see people's true colors. It's because when pressure is put on our system, that's where we start to see ourselves step out of alignment with our authenticity and thus integrity. It's not until somebody puts pressure on us to make a choice that's for their best interests that we abandon our own best interests. It's not until there's a consequence for telling the truth that we tell a lie. And the unfortunate aspect that we have to look at about 2019 is we will be given plenty of opportunities to act out of alignment with our integrity. You know that I hate sugarcoating and I don't like the idea of sugarcoating in general, so without sugarcoating them, it must be said that we can look at these places where we could abandon our integrity as if they are opportunities for us to decide in favor of our own integrity. There will be many surprises this year. There will be many completely unforeseen changes, events, and circumstances that you can't even comprehend from the place that you're in today. And the major question that we need to ask ourselves relative to 2019 is, how are we going to use our free will to make a conscious choice when faced with these circumstances? These circumstances that will arise in 2019, these curveballs, they're going to put us in a position where we get to ask ourselves whether we're going to use our free will and thus not fragment, or fragment, which is the way that physical humans cope. the way that we tend to cope is to polarize. So I'll just give you some examples. With a lot of these scenarios, one polarization may be that some unforeseen circumstance comes up that's really exciting, and so we jump on it instantaneously without even considering that not all of us is in alignment with that thing that we've just decided to do. And so we're basically acting in a state where we're bulldozing parts of ourselves, very important parts of ourselves, in order to make that decision. Another example might be that instead of us really choosing with our free will how to respond to a situation, we will just allow ourselves to be sucked down into the muck and mire of a hole where we feel like we're completely powerless. Another thing we might do, which is unconscious and not to act with our free will, is that when we're faced with these circumstances, we might choose to bypass or deny or completely escape out of whatever situation that we're in. You know that if you're into spiritual subjects, you tend to be at risk for this. In the spiritual field, it's quite common for people to just explain something away instead of really look at the difficult things that are there for us to look at. We need to use our free will to not allow this polarization to occur within us. For example, we need to use our free will to make sure that all parts of ourselves are aligned when we take a step forward in a particular direction. We need to use our free will to acknowledge and face the muck and mire of our lives consciously and by choice, instead of avoiding it or believing in our own powerlessness, so that we allow ourselves to sink like quicksand. I have to mention something that's really worth mentioning when talking about 2019. There is a massive difference between consciously choosing to go down a black hole and allowing a black hole to simply suck you into it. And that difference is free will. It's choice. Instead of allowing ourselves to become polarized or even to try to achieve balance, what we have to do is to consciously choose to expand wide enough, expand our horizons, so as to become the highest expression of all polarities. All of this, simply said, is 2019 is calling you into a very specific kind of mastery, and that mastery is free will. 2019, unfortunately, is not going to be a year that is absent of tension. Tension is going to be a common theme this year. But this is what's important to understand, that tension is calling your attention to the places and the areas of your life that need you to bring your conscious will to them in order to create progress in that area of life. So use the tension that you're feeling to indicate to you that progress needs to be made, and progress specifically where your free will needs to be an additional ingredient to that area of your life in order to create any kind of forward movement there. That being said, because of the curveballs that are going to happen this year, because of the tension of progression, and because of the pressure, let's just say that 2019 is going to be a difficult year for the immune system. When you look at the energies of 2019, the immune system is the part of the body that's going to be the most impacted by all of this. So it is very critical that in 2019 you be thinking about what you need to do in order to create a sensation of stability within your physical system. How can you support your immune system especially? What kind of lifestyle? That includes the food you eat, the people you spend time around, the places that you are. All of these types of things that go into the lifestyle choices that you're making. How can you make those choices in alignment with a healthy immune system? Pay special attention to your senses when you are considering this. This year is a very important year to think about what nourishes my senses. Security is going to come into question because of the nature of this year and the curveballs that are happening. And anytime we make a massive move forward, like take a stride, there's a little bit of a destabilizing effect. Security is going to be up for you. You're going to be worried about how secure you are financially, how secure your relationships are, how secure you are emotionally, how secure the world is in general. Security is going to be a major theme. The more clearly that you can define what security is in all these different sectors for you specifically and take steps to actualize that security, the easier it will be for you to really make a movement forward. Economy is also something which will be greatly impacted and destabilized by the energies of 2019. The consciousness of mankind will be re-evaluating energy exchange in general, and money is a big part of this. There will be pressure on finances and curveballs relative to finances and potential recessions in finances and changes in our entire approach to finances. That means, and this is really important, 2019 is a year to be very real and very practical and very intelligent about the way that you are with money. This is not a year to wildly spend. In 2019, no matter who you are, you're going to make strides no matter what. But as you know, if you're on this train with intentionally getting on board with the energies of 2019 and you want to capitalize on them, then you have to do so with your free will. Now, free will, you can't take it apart from authenticity, can you? Because authenticity is about what uniquely defines you, remember? It's about what I really want, what I think, what I feel, what my unique purpose is, right? Now, obviously, choices, which is what free will is really about, are all about choices in alignment with what you really want, what you really think, what you really feel. So authenticity and free will go hand in hand. Purposeful living is the result of acting in alignment with those things that uniquely define your true essence. You need to choose the liberation of your unique self and choose to come out of the closet and choose your direction in order to make strides that are in alignment with your authentic truth. Don't isolate yourself this year. Obviously, this epidemic of loneliness is going to be coming up more and more and more in 2019 and even the years to follow. But here's the thing. You're in the process of really birthing your unique self out onto the world. And surrounding yourself with people with whom you can have an authentic emotional connection is a bit like hiring a doula for that birth process. Trust me, it makes it much easier. Be mindful as you move into 2019 that it is possible to be fully aware of and admit to your limits, which are a part of your authentic truth, without being limited. You are meant to blast off. You are meant to realize this vision that you had, the one that began in 2009. And when I say realize it, I mean realize it without limitations. Realize it without boundaries. You are meant to create this thing and create it here, tangibly in the world. 2019 is the year of making strides in alignment with that vision. You are now at that next level of vision. Congratulations for leveling up. It is time to expand your horizons. 2019 is that year where you're going to take all those seeds that were sown in 2009 that are beginning to crystallize to a whole new phase. And you're going to do that with your free will. And your free will is going to be in alignment with authenticity because this new phase is a new phase of authenticity. So it's time to take a stride and to take things in stride. Have a wonderful 2019.